All right. Zimriah is in the house. Mostly it's just Ada and your beautiful family, and also Becky. So come on up if you're a member of the Zimriah. All right, come on up. We're going to sing our opening song, our Hinei Matov. You guys know this one, right? This is the one with the whoa-whoas in it. All right, here we go. Let's keep singing, you guys. Let's sing the song Hava Nashira. Here we go.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
It's good to be together. I'd like to invite you to turn to your neighbors and introduce yourself if you don't know each other. Wish someone a Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Oma and Opa in Pennsylvania. Shabbat Shalom.
Rabbi Heath's parents are in the house. Welcome.
Hi, Watchmakers.
And we are celebrating Ada Weingrod's bat mitzvah this weekend. So in honor of that beautiful and wonderful occasion, we'd like to invite up Ada and her family to light the Shabbat candles. So Ada and Isaac and Serena, Elza and Ira Weingrod, Bernie and Janie Leung, and Lanny and Janice Weingrod. Please join us on the Bima. You can find the blessing for candle lighting on page 2 or 120.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner, lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Ada will lead us in Kiddush, the blessing over the juice, on page 5 or 123.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, v'ahavah uvratzon hinchilanu. Anu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabak et kodshecha ve'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat.
Amen.
You can see
L'chaim.
Dr. can have a sip of it.
Congratulations. So it is a special pleasure tonight to offer a special blessing. We don't get to do these so often, but we are delighted to be giving a blessing to our member, Bernie Marcus, who's celebrating his 100th birthday tomorrow. So I'd like to invite you, you can start making your way up along with your son, Victor, and I'm going to tell a little bit about you, if that's okay. All right, so we're not going to recount his whole life because we don't have time. But in case you don't know Bernie, here are just a few fun facts about this living legend. So, Bernie grew up in the Bronx, where he was part of a gang that called itself the Barracudas. His mom called them a bunch of bums. Bernie finished high school at 15, spent some time working on a farm, and then attended City College of New York, graduating at age 20 with a degree in physics. During World War II, Bernie worked in counterintelligence, chasing Nazi war criminals, and at one point confiscating and driving a BMW that Hitler had used. You can see the photo in Bernie's memoir, which I recommend to you all. After the war, Bernie was selected to be Joe McCarthy's aide while he investigated the communist menace at Fort Monmouth. Bernie did not enjoy the assignment. Bernie designed optical and photographic systems for drones, U-2 reconnaissance planes, and satellites. They were used by the US during the Cuban Missile Crisis and to take pictures of the moon in preparation for the Apollo mission. And they were also used by Israel and helped them win the Six-Day War. Bernie was married to his beloved wife, Molly, for 45 years. And his second wife, Ruthie, was a dear friend of Molly's who came back into Bernie's life in a way that can only be described as beshert. They were married for 26 years until Ruth's death in 2019. Bernie has 2 children, Victor, who's here with us tonight, and Deborah, who's watching on the stream. 1 grandson, Jory, and his wife, Natasha, and 1 great-grandson, Raphael. I'm almost done, Bernie. These days, Bernie keeps busy by taking piano lessons over Zoom, participating in a memoir writing class, playing Sudoku fanatically, and enjoying activities with his community at the V. He's also a regular attendee at Torah study. Bernie has an incredible memory, a keen intellect, and a sparkling wit. And when I asked Bernie what the secret to long life is, he said, God knows. So it is my true pleasure to offer you this blessing on behalf of all of us here at Beth Am. Mishaberach avotenu v'imotenu. May the one who blessed our ancestors bless you, Bernie, on your 100th birthday. May you continue in strength and good health. May you continue to take pleasure in each and every day. And may you always feel the love and support of your family, friends, and community. Ad mea v'esrim, may you live to be 120. You're almost there. And together we will sing. Oh, I should have dragged it out more. Together we will sing.
Are we ready?
Oh
all be jealous you're not going to the birthday party. They're going to be belly dancers, I've
Oh
been
my
told.
gosh. Wonderful, wonderful mazel tov.
We'll continue.
Oh, it's the rabbi's birthday too.
Bernie is an inspiration to 51-year-olds everywhere. I'm honored to you.
Let's turn now to L'cha Dodi, our prayer to welcome in the Sabbath bride. You can find it on page 20 or 138. We'll sing the first, second, and fifth verses, and then when we get to the ninth, we'll rise and welcome her in. turn to page 28 or 146 as we pray the words of Baruch Hu, the call to worship. You can remain standing. You'll see the words roll into dark on your screen. These are the words of our Ma'ariv Aravim, our twilight prayer. Page 34 or 152.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Please be seated. Next Shabbat, Danny Burnett and Owen Wegbright will become B'nai Mitzvah. And I want to invite you both forward now to lead us in the Via Havta on page 36. V'tem kedoshim leElohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Asher hotzeiti atem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Adonai Elohechem. Yes. Join us on the top of page 39. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught, for forever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Sing with us, page 40 or 158.
כיפד אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
On page 43, we sing these words of shelter shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu.
All right, I'd like to invite members of our Zimriah to come join us on the Bima for Let There Be Love. As you guys come up, here we come, we multiplied. One more. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashivenu, Leshalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashivenu, Hashivenu Adonai, Eloheinu Shalom. Let shalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storm. Let there be love, everyone. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storm.
Well done. Tefillah begins on page 46.
You guys could stay up here for this part if you like.
You can stay up. You can stay standing because they're all going to join you right now.
Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la la
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanorah,
Hoshia U'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah.
Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, mechaye hakol atah ra ve'hoshia. Morid hatah, mechalkel chayim bechesed, mechaye hakol berachamim rabim. Somech noflim verofeh cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato lishenei afar. Michamocha ba'al givurot, u'mido melech, melech memit u'mechayeh, u'matzmiach Yeshua. V'ne'eman atah lachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yehallelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
We continue privately, and when you have completed your prayer, please be seated.
Well, it's been already like a week and a half since we celebrated Yom HaAtzmaut, but that won't stop us from singing this fabulous song by Debbie Friedman called Im Tirtzu. The words are also words that we hear in Hatikva when we say Liot Am Chofshi Be'artzeinu Be'eretz Zion V'Yerushalayim. So here we go. You're welcome to sing along. You guys ready? Im Tirtzu, Im Tirtzu, Ein Zo Agada, Ein Zo Agada, la la la. Liot Am Chofshi Be'artzeinu, That was great, Zimria. You guys could go ahead and be seated. Thank you. Love that song.
In our Torah portion this week, we we read of the eternal light that's behind us. We're commanded to bring, or the Israelites are commanded to bring the purest of oil for lighting the eternal light, and to do that regularly. And in these moments, we lift up light and we shine it. We shine it towards those who are in need of healing in our community, and we express our care and compassion for them through these words that will appear on the screen. And in these moments, we think of those in the extended Betham community who are in need of healing on this Shabbat. Deb Altschuler, Ginny Anderson, Patricia Brown, Susan Carlson, Abigail Covert, Diane Dennenberg, Terry Gibson, Selena Glader, Barbara Heiken, Dorothy Huppert, Moritz Huppert, Marvin Jones, Arnie Kaufman, Harold Muckamal, Sophia Palisbin, Nick Pasquale, Donna Perlman, Rabbi Lori Phillips, Peggy Pizzo, Dale Prinstein, Sue Rahut, Harris Sachs, Jonathan Sachs, Stephen Abraham Simon, David Baruch Ben Simona, Matthew Smith, Nikki Sokol, Donna Spanger, Nicole Gent Wickenheiser. Are there any other names? Join us.
Healer of the brokenhearted, binder of their wounds, counter of uncountable stars. You know who they are.
this group of individuals and volunteers from our community who have given our community already so much care and love. And a special shout out to the chair of our Chevra Kadisha, Debbie Muckamal. I know you're watching from home, so. I am delighted to introduce tonight's speaker, Rabbi Stuart Kelman. Rabbi Kelman is the founding rabbi and rabbi emeritus of Congregation Netivot Shalom in Berkeley, which began back in 1988 as a community minyan and has grown into a large and vibrant conservative synagogue that is known for its religious services, preschool, and adult programming. Netivot Shalom has taken leadership positions on the issues of LGBTQ+ and non-Jews as participants in conservative congregations. I was fortunate to be one of their Hebrew teachers and junior congregation leaders in the early 90s and know firsthand what a warm and vibrant community it is. During retirement, Rabbi Kelman has been involved in the work of the Chevra Kadisha movement. He was the president of Kavod V'Nichum, the national organization of the Chevra Kadisha, and served as dean of the Gamliel Institute, which is a 3-year online certification program for training of Chevra Kadisha leaders. He's also one of the founders of Gan Yarok, the first green and Jewish cemetery in North America, and is the recipient of the 2012 Leadership Award from the Green Burial Council. He continues to teach and speak about liturgy, Chevra Kadisha, green cemeteries, Safrut, which is Hebrew calligraphy, and Jewish education, and he also likes to play jazz with local bands. Rabbi Kelman's wife, Vicki, is an internationally recognized professional Jewish family educator and recipient of the prestigious Covenant Award. They have 4 children and 10 grandchildren. On a personal note, I've known the Kelmans since I was a kid, attending LA Hebrew High and Camp Ramon Ojai. Their oldest daughter, Nava, and I danced in a Jewish performing arts company and studied abroad in Israel together. Ari, their next oldest, and I attended UC Santa Cruz together, and we used to carpool over the hill to teach Hebrew and Judaica at Shir Hadash in Los Gatos. And I was also one of their twins, Ilana's counselor, when she was in Adat Shalom at Ramah. Vicki and Stu have been teachers and role models of mine since I was a kid, and I am really looking forward to learning from Rabbi Kelman tonight. So without further ado, I give to you Rabbi Stuart Kelman. See, you should see him about now. There you are. Let's see if we could hear you. Hold on, we don't hear you yet. But I do see. All right, let's wait. Try again.
Okay.
There we
How
are.
about that? There we are. Good. Thank you. Thank you. What a wonderful introduction. I really appreciate it. And you have now brought back a whole bunch of wonderful, wonderful memories, which both at Netivot Shalom and with my own family. So thank you. And thanks for this invitation to speak about Chevra Kadisha. But I want to start someplace else. I would like to start with talking about the holiday that comes on Sunday all day. I'm not sure how many have heard of this holiday. It's a rather interesting one. It's called Pesach Sheni, the second Pesach, the second Passover. Pesach Rishon, the first one, were for those who could celebrate and were fit to do so. But there were a whole bunch of people who were unable to celebrate Passover at its proper date, and the rabbis instituted this holiday called Pesach Sheni 1 full month after Pesach Rishon, after the first one, to give those people who couldn't observe the first Pesach properly, they gave them a second chance. What a wonderful message. This wasn't because you were sort of, I suppose, tired from cleaning the week before, but you could have found yourself, for example, on a boat. Or generally, you might have been a Kohen, a priest. And on Pesach, the first one, you found yourself in a state of impurity. I'll just use that word. But a month later, you could actually be ready and in a proper condition to observe Pesach. So I want you all to remember the Seder, because in that Seder, there is a rabbi who is my hero. I have a hero, and I have a feeling that many of you know him as well. Think about Pesach, just a month ago. There's a part of the Haggadah that says that there are three things that one has to mention at a Seder: Pesach, Matzah, and Maror. And do you remember who said it? That's right. It was Rabban Gamliel. Actually, in the Talmud, there are a few Rabban Gamliels. This is Rabban Gamliel Hazaken, the elder who lived in the 1st century of the Common Era. And it seems that in his time, when people died, if they were poor, they were carried to a cemetery on a plain wooden plank. If they were rich, they were carried out on a very fancy engraved board. If they were poor, they were dressed in tattered clothes. And if they were rich, they were dressed in the finest of garments. Things got so bad that very often the poor were simply left in the street since they could not afford to be buried properly. Enter Rabban Gamliel, who, when he saw what was happening, ordered that every Jew, no matter their station in life, be buried in tachrichin, in simple, plain white shrouds, and in a casket made of the plainest of wood and without any metal. And that actually became known as the plain pine box. So here's one individual, one person, who was actually able to transform an entire ritual of practice by making sure that Judaism lived by the principle of equality in death, rich and poor alike. And he himself instructed his students to bury him in tachrichin, in these white garments, and a wooden casket. That's why he's my hero. And that's why, as you heard, that's why we named our institute after him, the Gamliel Institute. And even now, in the 21st century, that tradition of burial in shrouds in a plain pine box endures. But there have been two additional ritual practices that have been added: Shmirah and Tahara. And those are the two concepts that I'd like to explore with you, as well as those individuals, the members of the Chevra Kadisha, that I want to talk about this evening, and put these concepts into a context that I think is very appropriate for us today, and certainly for Beth Am. And so, Shmirah, watching and guarding, and Tahara. For the moment, I'm going to leave that word untranslated, which will take us also back to Pesach Sheni. But let's start with two fundamental value statements. One, no one should ever be alone at death. And two, everyone should be accompanied by the community to their final resting place. Well, in the early days, Shmirah consisted of sitting and watching and guarding the body from animals or grave robbers. Today, that's not our concern. But we have an opportunity to practice Shmirah with a different mindset, still with the underlying value of someone always being with the body, either in person, at a funeral home, for example, or by Zoom, or by a hybrid of those two. And one clear advantage of Zoom is the ability for anyone, anywhere, to participate in Shmirah, anywhere in the world. People who could not say goodbye to that person in person can now do so virtually. And Shmirah, I would translate as the opportunity for anyone to actually be with the neshama. Which brings me to the neshama, to the soul, and the obligation to assist the soul, the neshama, the soul and the body, to make the transition between this world and the next, whatever that may be. and a group of individuals who together are called a Chevra Kadisha, a group of people who are engaged in a holy act, are the ones who gather to help the neshama transition by performing a tahara, an act of purification. That's a bad word, so I'd like to try and explain it a little bit better. We all live in this real world of everyday existence, and sometimes we're able to rise above this world and actually be in a heightened state of awareness. We go from what has traditionally been called tameh, again, inaccurately translated as impure, but really means that's how we live, to a state of tahor, again, inaccurately translated as pure, but a different state of being. And remember those who weren't fit to observe Pesach the first time around? Well, probably they were Kohanim, who were tameh, who were living in the world. And now, over the month, had a chance to become tahor, to become fit to offer sacrifices and do a seder. And in order to do so, they had to do some ritual that would enable them to become tahor. Well, something parallel like that happens in a tahara room, in the room in which the ritual of tahara is performed, usually in a funeral home. And the members of the Chevra Kadisha assist that neshama in going from one world to the next, and from one state of being tameh to the state of tahor, because one should exit this world fit to enter the next. And we do this by cleaning the person, pouring a certain amount of water on the body, dressing, placing him or her in the casket, ready for burial. Water is used not only in Judaism, but in many cultures as a vehicle for transition. Think about mikvah for a convert or baptism for a young child. By pouring water on the body, we are certifying that this body has achieved a state of tahor, an elevated state. In this week's Parsha, besides the light, this Parsha, Emor, begins with a description of the Kohanim, the priests, and the regulations making it possible that they are, much of the time, in a state of tahor. When we engage in this process, we're helping that soul, that neshama, to rise above the usual and be ready to alight to a higher plane. Lest you think that the person lying before you is merely the body of a deceased person, most people with whom I've spoken after they've done a tahara tell me that you can actually feel the presence of the neshama in that room. The neshama, the soul, is present. And we who do a tahara actually start by addressing that person by name. We say, so-and-so, please forgive us if we do something to you inadvertently that is displeasing or a mistake. And why would we address the deceased if we didn't actually believe that there was a neshama, a soul lying in front of us? What a remarkable statement to make, because it transforms a mere set of mechanical actions into a remarkable spiritual experience. And the fact that the emphasis now is on the spiritual ritual as along with the mechanical is what is new today in these days in North America. And it is becoming part of the ritual practices. A Chevra Kadisha is becoming part of the practice in many, many congregations throughout North America, regardless of denomination. Reform, conservative, renewal, Orthodox. This is not the provenance of the Orthodox, but it is now becoming accessible to every congregation and to every person. And remember, this act of tahara that we are doing is something for which we can never be repaid. Let me repeat that. The act of tahara that we are doing is an act for which we can never be repaid. I want to suggest that anyone who wishes to do so can join with others in the acts of Shmirah and Tahara. And the same way that we as a community welcome a newborn or share in a bar or bat mitzvah that we just did, or join with a celebration of a birthday as we just did. We join as a community as well to help a neshama at the end of life along the journey. Beth Am is already a part of this renewed national movement, but every so often we need to be reminded of this ritual of transformation, to study it, to learn, for us as individuals and for us as a synagogue. So even if you choose to do one of these mitzvot, Shmirah or Tahara, or even if you choose not to participate, please continue to learn more. In June, the organization that I'm part of, Kavod V'Nichum, is holding a conference all online where you can enrich the knowledge that you already possess and translate these mitzvot for you at Beth Am to use in this 21st century. Your congregation is part of this renewed national movement. The actual number of chevras in North America has at least doubled in the last 10 to 20 years. We have and continue to face many challenges in this COVID era. But history has shown the resiliency of Jewish communities around the world who, when faced with a disastrous plague, succeeded to preserve the values of our traditions at the end of life in very creative ways. My wish is that you, here at Beth Am, continue this unbroken chain and enhance it. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Kelman. After the service, Rabbi Kelman's going to stay on this Zoom link. If you're here in person, you can join me in the conference room. We're going to be set up with the Zoom link will be on. If you're interested, this is if you're kind of interested. If we've piqued your interest in joining our chevra and you want to learn more or ask Rabbi Kelman some questions, that will take place then. And our people online, of course, same for you. We'll have you log on to the Zoom link. And I know the members of our Chevra Kadisha are going to participate in that. And so thank you so much again, and Shabbat Shalom. It was wonderful to hear from you.
I just want to echo the thanks to Rabbi Kelman. Thank you, Cantor Spall, for making this beautiful connection and providing this really profound learning. I know for many years I got to facilitate our Intro to Judaism classes field trip up to Hills of Eternity to learn about the rituals and the rites of Jewish death and burial. And it was always a profound class for those participants. So glad all of you, both here and online, got to hear more about this really beautiful Jewish tradition. We'll continue with a prayer of hope and healing. Our stand-in for Aleinu tonight is one day, so I'll ask everyone to please rise, and the words will pop up on our screen.
Let's have our Zimriyah come and join us back on the bima and help us lead one day. All right. Give another second for the people who are running. 1, 2. One day, one day, one day. One day, one day, one day. All my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more war, and our children will play. One day, one
seated. As we prepare for our prayer, it's a big jump. As we prepare for our prayer of memory, I want to offer this piece written by Rabbi Richard Levy. It's on page 291. It is hard to sing of oneness when the world is not complete, when those who once brought wholeness to our life have gone, and not but memory can fill the emptiness their passage leaves behind. But memory can tell us only what we were, in company with those we loved. It cannot help us find what each of us alone must now become. Yet no one is really alone. Those who live no more echo still within our thoughts and words, and what they did is part of what we have become. We do best homage to our dead when we live our lives more fully, even in the shadow of our loss. For each of our lives is worth the life of the whole world, and each one is the breath of the ultimate one. In affirming the one, we affirm the worth of each one, whose life, now ended, brought us closer to the source of life, in whose unity no one is alone, and every life finds purpose. As I read the name of a loved one or friend, I invite you to rise in their honor and remain standing. This Shabbat, we are in the period of Shiva, the first week of mourning, for Michael J. Lipson, husband of Stephanie Lipson, brother of Stuart Lipson, father of Rami Lipson, and our member Jaffe Lipson, father-in-law of Joshua Lehrer Grewer, grandfather of Noah Lehrer, Sasha Lehrer, Tali Lehrer, and Ethan Lipson. We remember Joseph Duchovny, husband of Faina Karasina, and father of Yevgeny Duchovny. We're in the period of Shloshim, the first 30 days of mourning, for Linda Leisner, Ronald Marks, and Roberta Lynn Berger Bernstein. This Shabbat marks the yahrzeit and the anniversary of death for Pearl Adelberg, Joyce Agress, Judy Goldberg Alcabez, Sandra Alvidrez, Jacob Engel, Herbert Apfelberg, Emmanuel Baum, Emily Benatar, Perry Bertram, Manuel Brown, Suzanne Burns, Edith Cohn, Florence Davidson, George Davis, Jerome Drexler, Helen Elsom, Bernard Jerry Emden, Gail Fagenbaum, Sam Feldman, Jonathan Frankel, Martin Freed, Adeline Gallant, Gabriella Ghani, Ruth David Gershman, Geraldine Goldstein, Francis Height, William Hagewood, Nathan Harrison, Ann Kaplan Harris, Alice Herman, Jacqueline Hochberg, Julius Hoffenberg, Kathleen Isaacs, Herbert Ives, Nathan Johnson, Milton Katz, John Kelly, Ruth Gershman Kimmel, Don Nieder, Anna Kruger, Murray Kurland, Louise Lowing Crusoe, John Liebeck, Martin Leff, Manuel Levin, Milton Liebhaber, Sarah Lomazova, Fina Lurie, Adam Marks, Bertram Marks, Rich Martin, Benjamin Mathon, Milton Newman, Vladimir Pisarsky, Hy Pitt, Jerry Regensberger, Paul Henry Reitman, Gerardo Miguel Rosenkranz, Jacqueline Rubenstein, Louis Safran, Nathan Sagan, Solomon Salim, Sharon Schurer, Charlotte Schreberg, Anita Schulman, Miriam Schumann, Anna Sagel, Charles Schechter, Harvey Allen Sitzer, Harry Streer, William Swerdlow, Herman Tabor, Ernest Ernie Traugott, Esther Trost, Julie Trudeau, Molly Weil, Larry Weinberg, James Wilson, Deli Wolf, Robert Zom, Barbara Zeligs, and Annie Ziani. there's someone who you're remembering, I invite you to rise and share their name. And if you're at home, I invite you to call out the name of a loved one that you're remembering. Zichronam livracha. I invite you to please rise and return to Words of Mourner's Kaddish, page 294 or 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra chirtei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam ulamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudesha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen.
Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru.
Can be seated. Quick word about our tzedakah box this month. As you know, each month Beth Am chooses a different and worthwhile organization. Our tzedakah box is in the corner of the foyer as you walk out that way. I encourage you to give generously. This month, our tzedakah box funds are going to the Sir Charles Clore Jewish Arab Community Center in Akko in Israel. Akko is one of the most diverse cities in all of Israel, and the center's aim is to provide high-quality, low-cost activities for Akko's residents, regardless of ethnicity or ability to pay. The center provides opportunities for low-income Israeli Jews and Arabs to come together to learn, meet, and play, sowing the seeds of peace and improving the quality of life for all through shared endeavors and understanding. I encourage you to give generously, either here in person, online, on our website, or through Venmo or at Beth-Am. Make it very easy to give. So all you need to do is just be generous. We're going to end with our prayer for peace. Od yavo shalom aleinu. May peace be upon us and throughout our world soon. You can follow along with the words on page 353 at the bottom of the page.
Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam,
right. Join us.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz, Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.